Hello and welcome to your Circus Color My Cookie kit. Let's take a look at what we have inside. So we have 6 cookies to decorate, 2 popcorn, 2 circus tent, and 2 tickets. Along with the palette cookie, we also have the decorating items. You should have 1 little vial of lemon extract, some extra cups for water and sprinkles, 2 brushes, and then we've got our circus sprinkle mix, our popcorn sprinkle mix, and then 2 bags of royal icing, 1 blue and 1 red. All right, let's start decorating. So I'm going to begin with the ticket. So, from home you'll need scissors and a paper towel. I've got the cookies set out on a piece of butcher paper, and you can use that or a placemat or some other kind of paper to help keep all of the decorating contained and make it clean up a little easier. So I'm going to actually start with my ticket, and I'm going to use the gold paint first. So we included on the palette cookie, on the colors, we have some gold. So there's a yellow dot, and then there's also a yellow dot that has this gold luster on it, and that is the gold paint. So in order to use the gold paint, it has to be mixed with an alcohol-based liquid, and that's why we've sent lemon extract. So the lemon extract is an alcohol, and you can just mix that with the gold, and it creates this nice gold paint. It has a little bit of shimmer to it. So you have to work the lemon extract into the gold to create the paint. Because this is an alcohol, it will evaporate quickly. So if you walk away from it, this might dry out, and then you'll have to start again. So I've got this worked in pretty well, and I've created my gold paint mixture here. So I'm going to move over here and start painting. I'm just painting my letters. I want my letters to be kind of gold. I'm going to go over this. Okay, so I've finished my gold letters. And now I'm going to put this brush aside, and I'm going to use a different one to start using the watercolors. So I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use red on my ticket. So I've got my water in there. I'm just going to activate this color dot by mixing the water with the color. So you can see this is going to come to life and create a water paint. And I like to dab a little bit on the palette cookie just to see the color first before I put it onto the cookie that I'm trying to decorate. So now I'm going to start brushing. Look at that color. Perfect. Okay, so we've got our color here, and I'm just going to go right up to the letters. I like to lay the brush flat next to the letter, not go like this, but kind of edge up to the letter. That way you can paint right up to the side without getting the letter painted. And if you do, it's a-okay. You can always go back and fix. So I'm just going to color around all of these things. The ticket cookie is a little bit tricky because it's got a lot of letters, but so if you might need the help of your mom or dad, or a grown-up who's helping you decorate these if you are little. Okay, so I'm just going to go around. I'm just going to go around all my letters, and I'll be right back in just a minute. Okay, so I've got my whole background colored, And now I'm going to put this cookie aside. And if you would like to later go back, you can take your gold brush again and you can go back and kind of touch up the letters with some more gold paint. So I'm just going to show you quickly how that's done. So just reactivate the gold, and then if you just quickly brush the gold letters again, they will red on there. You just brush the gold letters again, you can get them back to being their gold. Coloring the letters and the background takes a little bit of skill. So you can wait till this dries and then go back and recover the letters one more time. So I'm going to put that one aside. And then I'm going to move to the popcorn. This is my favorite cookie in this set. So I'm going to do that one next. So this is my all-time favorite. So I'm going to start actually with my popcorn and circus sprinkle mixes. So I'm going to show you quick. So the sprinkle mixes come in these bags, and there are some extra cups, and you can just pour the sprinkle mix into the cup, and there you have it to use. Okay, so there are two ways to apply the sprinkles. First, you can add some fresh icing, or you could just paint the cookie with either just plain water or some of the watercolor. So I'm going to show you first how to do, I'm going to use the red, how to do it with the sprinkle bag, and then I'll show you how to do it with just the water. So I've got my icing, so I'm just kind of kneading the icing together to make sure that in the male it may have separated just a touch. So I'm just kneading it back together to make sure that it's all nice and the same consistency. And then I'm going to cut a small hole in the end. It's just so small you can barely even see that I cut anything. The smaller the hole, the easier it is going to be to control. So I hold the bag like this with these two fingers, and then I wrap the rest of my hand around it. I don't really hold like that. I'm really just pressing with these top two fingers. And then I use my left hand, which is, my right hand is my dominant hand, so that's the hand that's squeezing, and then I use my left hand to stabilize and help me guide. So I'm going to start on the edge. Whenever you fill a cookie that has been outlined, you start at the edge. So we will outline the cookie in black, and then you can fill it with a color. So we go all the way around the edge and then move to the middle. The edge is the trickiest part, so that's when I kind of go slow, and then as I get to the middle I can push a little harder and go faster. Now as the icing is coming out of the bag, I'm moving the bag up and down, just a touch, because there might be a few little air bubbles that happen as the icing comes out of the bag, and moving the bag up and down will help pop those. So I've got that in there now, and now the sprinkles are going to stick to the wet icing. So I'm going to take my circus sprinkle mix and add it here. You always want to use the sprinkles first. So the area that you want to have sprinkles on, you do that before you do any painting, because the sprinkles will not stick to the dry part of the cookie. They will stick to anything that's wet. So I'm going to mix these up with my hand, and then I'm going to take them and pour them right onto this icing covered part of my cookie. You can just give it a little tap right over the cup, and the excess sprinkles will fall right in, and there you go. And you've got your sprinkles on your cookie, and they're just perfectly in that little circle. Now I'm going to show you how to use the watercolor. So I'm going to get my brush wet here. I'm going to move this away because I'm not going to use it anymore right now, but I'm going to use the watercolor to show you how to adhere the sprinkles. So I'm going to get the brush wet, and I'm going to use the yellow color. You could just do, so I'm going to put the popcorn sprinkle mix here where the popcorn should be. And you could just use clear water, or you can use the yellow color. So I'm going to use the yellow color. So again, we just mix the water into the yellow color dot to activate it. And just test it on the palette cookie to make sure you like the color, and then you can start painting. And you'll see this popcorn cookie, on the area where the popcorn is supposed to be, there is no black outline. And I find it helpful when working with a cookie that has no outline on the edge to paint all the way down to the cookie. So I pick the cookie up a little bit, and you can kind of be careful because it's got some sprinkles on there. So tilt it just a touch, and then you can paint all the way to the edge. There we go. Got my yellow popcorn cookie. All right, so I've got the whole area covered all the way down to the cookie in yellow. So again, the same thing applies. We've got our wet area and we've got our sprinkles. So now you could also take the cup and kind of tap it to add sprinkles. And you can add however many you want. So I mean, you could stop right there. I want a lot of sprinkles. So I'm going to cover the whole thing. Okay, so I've got my sprinkles and I'm going to put my cup back down. And I'm just going to tap, tap, tap to see if there's any excess. If the cookies, the sprinkles are not stuck to the wet icing, they will fall off. So you can just tap them, they'll come right off. Everything else is going to stick. And there we go. So I've got both sprinkles on my popcorn cookie, and now I can paint. So I'm going to go ahead and paint with the red icing. So I've got my red color here. So what I'm going to do, I've got to look at it because I want it to go alternating. So white, red, white, red. So I'm just going to put a dot here and a dot there, just to help me remember. And then I'm going to make an outline first. Okay, so I've got my outline on the edge. And now I can fill. Remember, the filling around the edge is the trickiest part. So I want to go slow on this part. And then you can go faster when you're filling in the middle. Okay, so I've got my edge done. Again, I'm going up and down as the icing comes out of the bag to pop any air bubbles. There we go. There's one red stripe down, and here's my second. I got my dot here to help me remember. I'm going to go around my outline. I'm using my right hand to push, my left hand is stabilizing to help me go in a straight line. Sometimes the bag gets a little bit of icing stuck in there and you've got to squeeze it with your hand to make clear it up again. So that's what I just did. Up and down as the icing comes out. And there you go. The icing should be just the right consistency for it to flow together, and you can see how smooth it is. It's going to dry that way. It's going to look very pretty. All right, popcorn done. Now we're going to move on to my circus tent. For this one, I'm going to add a little bit of blue into the mix. And I think that I'm going to do, I love the sprinkles, so I'm going to do a sprinkle door, just like I had done with my popcorn, but I'm going to do it, the door to my tent sprinkles. So I'm going to use just water. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use blue. So I want some blue color in my collection here. So I've got my blue dot, I'm adding the water to it, mixing it around, testing it, making sure I like it, and then I'm going to paint the door. Okay. I'm going to paint in here. This is the area that is wet, so I can add my sprinkles. I'm going to pick them up and put them over my door, and then, so I've got them onto the wet area, and I'm going to tap, 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 have them come off, back into the cup, and now I'm ready to go. So I've got my sprinkle door, and now I'm ready to go with my colors. Okay, so I've got my circus tent with my sprinkle door, and now we're going to go with the stripes. And of course you could do whatever kind of stripes you want. That kind of thing, maybe I want to do yellow and blue. I feel like the traditional circus tent might have other colors, but I get to do what I want. It's my cookie. So I've got my yellow dot here. Or I mean, you can make it look like a beach ball, right? You've got all the colors for a beach ball. You can do a beach ball tent, but I'm going to use yellow and blue. So I'm going to color this part yellow. And I'm going to make a dot here just to help me remember not to color that blue. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and color it right now. Okay. Then I'm going to go down here too. I'm going to use some yellow. Do the whole thing yellow and blue. I think I kind of don't want to have them the same here, so I'm going to make this part yellow and this part yellow. That way it'll be nice and striking. Different sections. Got my yellow. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to go for blue. And my blue, I'm going to use the watercolor. Okay. In this area, blue. Okay. Getting to the point here, a little tricky. We're going to do it. Turn my cookie around. Getting all the corners. One more section. And there we go. One yellow and blue circus tent. I've got all my cookies here, and my popcorn, and my ticket. Well, there you go. I wish you happy decorating, and of course remember the best part about Color My Cookie is eating it.